And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, I think, afternoon. I'm starting to lose track of the days here, Bridgette. But anyway,
Uh,
regardless, welcome to the
right.
program. How are you doing today?
I am fabulous. And I know that being here in Washington, D.C., I have had less rain than everybody back home. Now, for some that's good, some that's bad. I've had some rain totals sent to me. So Buxton, just shy of 3/4 of an inch. Where I live in Hunter, probably an inch and a quarter. So we were in that narrow band that got a little bit more. And even all the way down into McIntosh County, I'm getting reports of some decent rainfall. Not everybody has a gauge out yet. It's kind of early. And so those guys are just saying things like, well, it's sort of greasy out here, but we definitely did get some rain out of that. So it's been quite a bit going on for many people, it looks like.
Yeah, it was a decent amount of rain that came through, and most of it came through last night into the morning hours here in the Red River Valley, and amounts totaling for the most part within eastern North Dakota, about a half inch to an inch. A few spots saw a little more than that, and in return, a few spots saw a little less than that, but everybody at least picked up 3/10 of an inch of rain from what I'm seeing reported across the state and over into Minnesota. It should definitely help to get things ready to go for spring planting and for wheat that went in the ground and sugar beets that went in over the last week. Should help them out pretty good for germination.
That's just it. The sugar beet guys, they did get a little bit of ground covered so that they do have some seed that's in the ground. But I also think for pastures, this is going to be a great rain shower that's going to help green up a lot of that pasture. Last year, we saw some of those pastures get a little bit grazed. This is going to make a difference in certainly helping them out tremendously. So I'm glad to see all of it.
Yeah, we were talking about this on the morning shows this morning on how they had stationed fire crews out at the Brainerd Regional Airport out there, or the flyovers for air support, because of just how dry it's been, and the red flag warnings had been issued throughout areas of Minnesota, and in areas that were seeing those excessively dry conditions. Got some much needed rainfall, so it's going to help cut down on the fire danger out there. And as you had mentioned, also green up those pastures, which at the same time helps eliminate those fire conditions across the state. So hopefully, we'll start to see
That's
less and
great.
less of those red flag warnings being issued.
That would be great. I don't think anybody wants to be concerned about their fire conditions right now. We have had plenty of prescribed burns where folks are burning out some sloughs, etc. But just like we talked about last week, could y'all be a little safer out there? Maybe have some fire extinguishers. Maybe don't be my grandpa where you light the fire and go to town for coffee. Keep an eye on what's going on out there. Wear long pants and even your hats. A lot of us like those summertime trucker hats, as they're called, with the nylon on the back. Those are not fire retardant, people. Let's be careful when we're out there. Let's not hurt ourselves in any way, shape, or form, shall we?
Uh-huh. Well, we got some fun things coming up on the program for this afternoon, and if you want to be a part of the conversation or ask some questions, give us a call on the Red Wing Shoes phone line or shoe line. That's 701-293-9000. Email to the program is weather or ag at flagfamily.com, and as well as that comment box there available on Facebook and YouTube Live. I lost what I was trying to say here. Oh, if you want to tell us how much rain you got at your location, you can let us know as well. I had 0.67 at my
Yes.
my gauge up in Central Grand Forks. I've heard reports of 0.99 inches in West Fargo, about zero point 0.8 in North Fargo. So just feel free to share with us those rainfall amounts, and we would definitely
Some of
appreciate the
you,
reports.
absolutely, because this will be shared across our live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Acres TV. Some of you just want to send me those messages on my phone. That's fine. I appreciate those. I'm going to keep track and keep spewing them out as I get them. So thank you for those. And then additionally, today, I want to make sure to say a great big thank you to a couple of our sponsors for our Here We Grow project, because now we have rain. Ground conditions are going to turn out to be really well. Hopefully in the next week, 10 days, we start planting our corn. And part of that project will be North Dakota Estate Services and Red Wing Shoes. The day last week that you and I were out in the field, I even remembered to bring my Red Wings because they are excellent work boots. And I hope others take the time to stop in on a rainy day and do a little shoe shopping with Teresa at
Mhm.
Red Wing Shoes.
Yeah, and before I list off the few other things we'll be talking about in the program today and our guests that'll be coming up, Bridget, and this is going to be a question for listeners if you can't answer it, but have you gotten the real ID yet in North Dakota?
Wait, let me look because I mean, I had to have that to get here, right? I'm in Washington, D.C. Yes, I have the real ID. It's got the little star thingy in the corner.
Okay,
That's a
so
technical
what
term.
do you
Star thingy.
remember all the things you had to bring with you to get the real ID? Because I've been told you need like 3 or 4 or 5 different pieces of paper to be able to do this. And I'm
Oh,
asking because I'm going to the DMV today at 3:10 and I would really rather not have to make another appointment to go there because I don't have the right piece of paper to say I'm who I am and where I live.
so take a utility bill. And now for women, sometimes that depends whose name is on the utility bill, right? If it's you or your spouse. So the utility bill, a driver's license, past driver's license, birth certificate, passport. I think I just took my grandma. She verified who I was. That was probably the easiest thing was just have grandma step up and say, it's okay, it's her. She's fine.
Yeah, I gotta go do all that. So I don't have a passport, but I was just gonna bring a driver's license, birth certificate, a W-2, and a utility bill to the house here. Because
I
I'm not
think
sure if I
those
got my
things are
social
probably get
security number either or a card.
well, there's a list on North Dakota's website. And speaking of websites, one of those websites is kind of almost one of our guests today. So if you want to find out what you need for real ID, you can go to nd.com, but you can also go to that to find the Game and Fish Department. And we're going to have a guest here later today. That's Greg Gullickson. He's with North Dakota Game and Fish. We want to talk about the relationship that goes on between farmers and landowners and wildlife sportsmen because there can be a few different programs that overlap. Sometimes wildlife is a little bit of a pain when it comes to our livestock producers and so forth, but we'll talk about that with Greg. Maybe he'll give us some good ideas and some helpful hints when it comes to some of the programs that we can see our landowners and farmers being a part of as well. So we got lots to do today. And then you're going to go get a real ID. So best of luck.
Yeah, at some point later today, I'm gonna go in there, and I did go on the website to check. I just got this feeling I'm gonna walk in there and gonna be like, "Well, you kind of need this too, so why don't you just come back next week?" But we'll see how it goes. Never had
So
any
Justin goes to the
easy, quick trips to the DMV.
Justin goes to the DMV every week just to see if he can get stuff done. I see how this is going to work. Nice.
Yeah, just to see if I can get anything new for free. Struck out every
It's the
time.
DMV. Yeah, I don't really think you're going to get there. But I have an ag headline that pertains to your world, and that would be soy based baby wipes. Believe it or not. Here's
Mm,
something you weren't expecting today. You and little Sterling, because I don't think he's quite hit the potty training age yet. But
getting
what you
close.
can do is there was a soybean innovation contest that was held at Purdue, and it was held in conjunction with the Indiana Soybean Council. What they did was the top winners received a $20,000 prize for their plan, and that was to make an environmentally friendly wipe alternative using they could only use one non-soy ingredient. And they discovered something, it's called soy silk. So they can use this fabric that comes from soybean meal. They can use it for baby wipes, makeup remover wipes, cleaning wipes, disinfecting wipes, and all these other ideas. So that's a potential on the horizon for you to plan for your household, Justin. That was first place. Second place was a $10,000 prize that went to the creators of the Soy Box, a soybean based thermoplastic starch that can be used to manufacture cartons that hold liquid. So, for those of you who want to make sure that your milk or other liquids come in something that's more sustainable, now you could be doing that with soybean products. That's just a couple of ideas that
Oh,
are coming out of Indiana right now.
very cool, very cool. And a few of the other ag topics that we're going to talk about today is, well, one, we got a Here We Grow update, as well as drone improvements and healthy produce grown at urban farms. So those will be our other three topics that we're going to get to at some point this afternoon or over the next 50 minutes or so. And again, our guest that'll be joining us here in the next segment is Greg Gullickson, North Dakota Game and Fish. So if you want to call in with any questions, or if you have a question that comes up while we're doing that interview and having that conversation, feel free to give us a call, 701 293 9000. We'll get those questions answered as well. We'll also have a full rundown on the forecast coming up here at the end of the segment. A quick rundown for today is just going to be a bit of a breezy, cloudy to partly sunny afternoon. Temperatures low 50s, west northwest winds 15 to 30. Tomorrow morning, a slight chance for a few snow showers, mixing in with a few isolated sprinkles into the afternoon. Not a big deal, just a chilly day tomorrow. It's going to be breezy, highs in the low 40s. But we got to get caught up with the American Ag Network here, check out what the markets are doing. And when we come back, we will have Greg Gullickson on the line with us from North Dakota Game and Fish.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. And we're so glad that you were joining us. Justin and I are here today. Dean apparently washed away in the rain. He'll be gone all week. We'll catch up to him eventually. He keeps sending us these messages that he's in Arizona and living the high life. Well, fine. You keep living the high life. We're going to keep working hard over here, as we always do, Justin. And okay,
Yeah,
you
he keeps
mentioned
sending me pictures of the pool, and I'm like, Dean, it's Arizona. Everyone has a pool.
right. This isn't that special. So,
Just anything to get under his skin.
but what is special has to do with the weather. Okay, so I ran down a list of what I had heard for rain totals in the region from listeners. And feel free to continue to share those with us. Again, you can reach us on the Red Wing Shoe phone line, 701-293-9000, or to all of you who are sending me text messages and otherwise, I'll keep track of those lists as well. But Justin, anything like how soon is this going to end? Am I going to come home tomorrow into rain? What am I looking at?
I don't know if you'll really see much for rain tomorrow. There's going to be a few pockets of either a little light snow flurries in the morning or a snow shower mixing in with some rain through the morning to early afternoon. But not really anything that's going to be adding to amounts out there more than maybe 100ths of an inch for a few spots. Today will be dry for the most part, as it has a couple sprinkles out in central North Dakota. Temperatures low 50s, breezy. Tonight, again, a few sprinkles mixing over with some snow showers towards tomorrow morning. As temperatures drop down to about the freezing mark to mid 30s here in the valley. As you go west of the valley, you'll drop below freezing in the 20s to low 30s. And we'll kind of do the same thing on Thursday. A few showers mixing with some snow through the morning to early afternoon. Mid 40s will be windy tomorrow. And again, we'll drop below freezing for your Thursday night, mixing in a few snow showers here or there. Nothing widespread towards Friday morning. And we'll see freezing conditions again Friday night, Saturday night, and possibly even Sunday and Monday night. So keep that in mind if you got the gardens already planted, or if you've picked up your flowers, you have sensitive plants outdoors. You might want to bring those in over the next handful of nights, because we will at least be seeing some areas of some patching and light freezing conditions over the next few nights. Or maybe if you got your patio furniture all set up and you put your umbrella out and you filled the base up with water, maybe you want to bring that indoors or at least drain it, so after it sits at 28 degrees for a few hours, it doesn't freeze and crack.
Well, good news. I don't have any plants and flowers outside right now, and the only umbrella I have is probably going to be one in a drink at some point this week. But other than that, I think it's fine. I'm not worried about my patio umbrella, but thanks for letting me know. That's just a Dr.
Pinkies
Pepper
up.
in your hand. I can see it. Right.
You
I can
don't
see
know
it
what
from
I
here.
pour in top of this can, Bridgette.
I hope for the best, sir. Oh, hoping for the best. Don't forget to check out martinbuildings.com/careers, because these folks are looking for you, the best of the best, to be part of their fit crews. They put up great buildings and they do so many projects, especially these whole house shop combination things that are going on. And they have great pay, benefits, and salary. They'll even pay you on days where the weather is, well, mostly terrible. So don't forget to go check them out, martinbuildings.com/careers. Well, we are hoping to see our guest here very soon. And again, that is Greg Gullickson. Greg is with North Dakota Game and Fish Department. And we had several things we wanted to talk about with Greg. One of them is a program called the Private Land Open to Sportsmen program, where they actually need some folks to bring their cattle in to help with grazing. And I wanted to ask Greg about that. And then also there is something called the electronic posting when it comes to being able to post the private property rights for hunting and so forth. And you can do that electronically now without just having to run around and put out your little yellow posted signs during hunting season. Unlike the post-it notes, the yellow post-it notes that Justin is very busy using over there on the live stream. So you're killing me, man. I am barely.
You did a good job there. I
focused.
thought you were going to lose it for a moment.
If I mute myself, it's your fault.
I didn't know if it was the king size Sharpie or the sticky notes or what it was, but I about had you going there.
Okay, anytime I look up and Justin is sniffing a marker, I realize that things are probably about to go badly. All right. When you think about all of those other topics that we have had this week, Justin, have we covered all of them, like Prop 12 and what's going on with consumers as well as pork producers? Prop 12, if you remember, was legislation that was went into effect in California that changed the size of the crates in which hogs can be raised. It increased that size, and that affected hogs that were even imported from other states. So some of those challenges have been, well, fairly rough. We know that bacon consumption overall is actually down for the U.S., but we are seeing that input costs are still up when it comes to buying bacon. So you're not going to see a whole drop in that price range at this point. And what makes a bacon cheeseburger better? The bacon. So Prop 12
Mm.
has had some difficulty for folks. Right now, you're looking at a 40% price increase in the state of California on just buying things like bacon and pork loin. So that's a really big consumer focus for many people, is the cost that it's now adding to their lives to have to try to enjoy their favorite meats. So
Mhm.
we'll see if that improves in the future, but as of the moment, it has not.
We just had some pork chops we picked up from our local meat place up here in Grand Forks, and they were probably some of the best pork chops I've ever had. I don't think I've ever had like a truly smoked pork chop before, but these things were just a deep smoked part to them, and I don't know. I might have to look into smoking any of the discount pork chops I pick up from the grocery store in the near future. I got a smoker, but I've never really used it for a whole lot outside of we smoked some fish a few times and we smoked some chicken breasts, but never any pork. And that was really good. So I might have to get into that, into more smoking items.
I think you probably will enjoy that tremendously. Those who are spending their summer months getting ready to start smoking pork loins and pork chops and so forth, they're going to enjoy those tremendously. What you'll maybe find funny is just simply the fact that some of the best smoked pork chops I ever got were shipped to me on a Twitter trade from a family in
Mm.
Iowa, actually. They raise hogs down there, and she sent me some smoked pork chops. She also is a farm wife who's originally from the Dominican Republic. She sent me some Dominican cigars. I will not. I won't deny that again. That was awesome. If the Bells want to send me more stuff, I'd be happy to take place or take part in that. That was really good.
You sure find a lot of trades to be making over there.
I have no problem finding folks who maybe want to trade North Dakota items for items from their state. That works out in my favor every time, I have to say. Not that we don't have great things in North Dakota, but it seems like I can find some pretty good trade items to share. That works out very well.
Yeah. So what are the things from here that you're shipping to them? Anything special or just kind of something extra things you got?
Believe it or not, something that people love the most is chocolate chippers from Carol
Mm.
Widman's. They're the chocolate covered potato chips. You know, when we raise potatoes up here. And so why not give those a try, right? People just love giving that salty sweet snack a taste for the first time. And so if it's possible, um, pick those up and try them at your house and see if you like them. Also, North Dakota's #1 in honey production. We also have pasta from the Dakota Pasta Growers Plant. So those are other items people want to try. It's a little harder to ship perishables. You got to pay attention to the timing of the year and so forth, but just do your best.
Hmm. Well, let's see. 129 on this afternoon. We're about to hit bottom of the hour. We'll get caught up with local news. We're running into some of the same issues we were occurring yesterday with our video connecting software. So we're having a moment here getting connected with Greg. He's getting kind of bounced
Yeah.
around on our board. So we're gonna get him squared away here, and we'll come back with Greg Gullickson, North Dakota Game and Fish, here in our next segment. So stay tuned. Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for being here. So very glad that you're joining us today and that we were able to overcome a bit of our connection issue. And now we have our guest with us, and that is Greg Gullickson with North Dakota Game and Fish. Greg, how are you today?
Doing good. Here in central North Dakota, we had a really nice rain yesterday, and it was spread out for pretty much most of the day. The ag folks up here, the farmers are just starting to do, a little bit of fertilizer work, mainly just seeing the air seeders getting calibrated and guys just kind of chomping at the bit, but still, we got to look at soil temperatures too. And I know I was out, I had some of our wildlife food plots that I put on our family farm. I'm the outreach biologist stationed out of Minot, but live on our family farm just southeast of Minot. So I was putting some wildlife food plots, and I was able to get out on the landscape and bush hog or mow those down, and even did just a little bit of disking, try to incorporate some of those. We have pretty good sized pumpkin patch and potatoes and sweet corn. They even tried a little bit of rye for a food plot last year. So just kind of getting ready get some seed in the ground here for wildlife. On the crop side of things, my cousin that farms land for us, that's still going to be kind of a little bit of a waiting game, just kind of waiting for those conditions to get right. And I haven't went up. We got a little chunk of native prairie, and I haven't been up there yet, but I'm also seeing some pictures already of crocus or pasque flowers. So to me, that is a
Oh,
sign of
yes.
spring. The other thing too for us at our farm is we had purple martin houses out, and I think it was just last Sunday I actually got to see my first purple martins starting to buzz around the yard. And those birds are 100% dependent on insects, so to me that's kind of a true sign of spring, that spring is here.
That's a huge sign of spring. People look for robins, but I think the crocuses and so much more really show that off. And people see the crocuses in their pastures, which leads to that relationship between wildlife and our landowners when they're raising cattle and other species, Greg. And lots of questions for you today. First of all, as our farmers go through the summer months, we know that the wildlife is out and about in the fields, etc. Are there any reminders that you would like to make sure that folks have when it comes to the wildlife and what the summer months might look like? I know that's pretty general and broad, but I'm curious if there's anything that you see as a regular conversation you have with some of our farmers and ranchers.
One thing that maybe a lot of people aren't aware of, obviously we have the Badlands, we have a lot of Forest Service land in the Turtle Mountains, Lake Wysocki with all the Corps of Engineers, game and fish lands that we have. But in North Dakota, when you look at the broad scheme of things, we are over 90% privately owned. So when you look at a agency like the North Dakota Game and Fish Department, and we're the third smallest game and fish agency in the United States. But having said that, over 90% is privately owned, we do rely heavily on the partnerships and the way that landowners are stewards of the land. And, for the most part, I think landowners, to a point, are very happy when they see the variety of wildlife that they have on their property. And many of our farmers and ranchers and landowners hunt themselves or just simply enjoy seeing the wildlife that's on that property. I still remember when I was just a little tyke back in the late 70s, my grandfather was so proud that a pair of Canada geese chose to nest on a rock pile in the middle of the slough right west of his yard. Well, now the tides have turned on Canada geese. And
I
the,
started
the,
laughing as you were saying that.
it, it's so ironic. And there are some programs for landowners to help control Canada geese, and definitely contact the North Dakota Game and Fish Department or the USDA Wildlife Services. We work closely with them and with landowners. One of the main things is hunters can really play an important role. In fact, during that early August Canada goose season, the limit on Canada geese is 15. Now, a lot of people say, especially like when the migration happens in the spring, and we have hunting or a conservation order where you can harvest light geese in the spring. And a lot of times people ask, well, how come you can't harvest Canada geese in the spring? Well, the geese that are in the state, and Canada geese are really hard to identify by individual species, and it depends upon who you talk to. But we all know that there's lesser Canada geese, greater Canada geese, but there are some of those goose populations that go all the way up to the Arctic, basically. So there's a lot of those populations that are migrating through North Dakota, and that's the time. And some of those populations are actually declining rather than what our Canada goose population is doing, which is inclining. I think we've probably leveled off. I'd have to talk with our waterfall guys, but there are some options for landowners, in the spring to help with some control. But I certainly encourage them, if you're having trouble, in the fall after that crop comes off, that's the time to get those hunters out there and let the hunters help you with that problem.
And that's a great point. What's your access to land availability? And so, one of the things I found an article on that I wanted to talk about was for North Dakota landowners, if you're interested in posting your private land electronically, you can now do so through the Game and Fish. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Greg, what that process looks like and how farmers can do that?
Yeah, so it's a relatively new process. I think we're probably in our third year of doing that. But so e-posting is where you just simply log in to the North Dakota Game and Fish Department website. You create an account for yourself if you don't already have one. For myself, I'd already had my account created. I had electronically posted our land last year, so it was just simple, and we didn't have any changes in what was going to be posted differently. So it was just as simple as going through and clicking on that, and it automatically will post your land electronically. I still do have the old school metal signs because I made an investment in those a few years ago, so that's still a nice thing to have too. The e-posting did open up in February, and hopefully that's well before maybe even people started to calve or starting to get excited about getting into the field. We get some wet days like now, and this is really a good reminder. The deadline for electronically posting is July 1st. And basically what that does is it allows for us to get all that information processed and to get it out before some of our seasons start. Like I mentioned, the early Canada goose season that starts in mid-August.
And what about the prairie management program? What is that?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different programs, not only through the Game and Fish, but a lot of different partners for our ag producers and landowners. You have the North Dakota Game and Fish, where we have a wide variety of program. Probably the one that's most widely known with the Game and Fish is for landowners would be our plots program, and that's private land open to sportsmen. And there's a lot of different options there. Whether it be access to your land. We have a food plot seed program where we just ask you to allow reasonable access, and that could be, just something as simple as allowing your family to come out and hunt, or, maybe one of your friends or neighbors. We do have the walk-in hunters welcome signs that are available. But with the plots program, yeah, there's all sorts of different things. Obviously, right now, grasslands is a huge push. Wetlands, we have programs for trees. Just a lot of different options out there for landowners, and we have not quite not quite a dozen private land biologists scattered across the state. Certainly, would encourage you to get in touch with your local private lands person, because obviously, the way that you're managing for wildlife habitat in the Red River Valley is different than some of the options that we have for ranchers and farmers out in the Badlands. So talk to that local person. If you need help on getting to them, it's pretty easy to navigate on the Game and Fish Department website, but certainly, call any one of our field offices or our main offices. There's a lot of things when you switch from one county to another, soil types, things like that does affect, payment rates and what county averages on things, and just different programs. So we have options to work with you. Again, Fish and Wildlife has a lot of great programs, Ducks Unlimited, Pheasants Forever. And if you go onto the Game and Fish Department website, there is kind of a one-stop shop there, where you can click on all these different habitat programs, what might work for you. If you're looking on putting in a grassed waterway, that's one of those spots that's always a problem. If you're looking on enhancing a wetland, if you're looking on at putting in tree rows, maybe even a shelter belt enhancement around your farm, CRP, just a lot of different options. The SCS or NRCS has quite a few different options out there too. And that's one thing that I hope within the Game and Fish, we try to have an open working relationship with landowners. And again, it's your land. I mean, not saying you can do absolutely whatever you want with it, but these are all volunteer programs where,
Hmm.
we're really not out actively seeking those folks, but, just so that those landowners, those producers, ranchers, that they know that there are these programs out there that maybe can provide a financial incentive for something that you're already doing on your land. Or maybe if there's a project that you're looking at, again, just lots of different options. And I, certainly encourage you to pick up the phone, shoot them an email, get in touch with some of those folks that are experts in that area.
Then that makes really good sense, is being able to contact those experts in order to ask them all of the right questions. So
Yep.
speaking of the right questions, there's some concern with predator animals, whether it's coyote when it comes to our livestock producers. In our neighboring states, there's discussion about wolves and so forth. Do you know what folks can or can't do if you have that predator species? Is that something that we can talk about, Greg? If you have a predator on the ground, what are kind of the rules and rights that you have as a landowner if you're protecting livestock?
Well, so if it's on your own property, you do that coyote season for everyone is open year round. You got to make sure that if whichever property that you're on, that you have, the proper license, and, be in touch with that game warden out there, be in touch with our regional offices, because actually with the North Dakota Game and Fish, you mentioned coyotes specifically, and, the same holds true for beavers and some of these other species that can cause some issues out there. We do actually work really close. In fact, the Game and Fish has a contract with USDA, and they have a program or a division called Wildlife Services. And so if you're not comfortable helping out, or if you're not comfortable, saying helping to control a coyote population that's gotten to the point where it's causing, damage, especially to calves, lambs, things like that, I would urge you to contact, the Game and Fish, but probably more importantly, USDA Wildlife Services, and they are the experts on how to get rid of some of these nuisance critters out there. The same thing when it comes to Canada geese. We definitely want to know if there's a situation going on, and there are some solutions that we do have that don't involve hunting for Canada geese as well.
I got a quick one here,
Excellent.
since you had just kind of mentioned on predatory animals, coyotes specifically. This has been something we've talked a little bit about in the past, and it's come a little bit more news. The feral hog population in Canada and the possibility of those working their way further south into North Dakota, and with some reports of hogs being seen or reported up along the border. Does North Dakota Game and Fish have any involvement in that or any information regarding it?
Absolutely. It's something that we monitor really closely. If you happen to see feral hogs, feral pigs, let us know. And again, between the Game and Fish and USDA Wildlife Services, we have actually, we have had to eradicate a few of those. Now, we don't have it open to the general public, and there's a good reason for that. If we were to just open up hog hunting to the general public, and let's say that you have a group of 12 hogs, obviously if it's someone just driving around, sees a group of hogs and starts popping at them, one thing is they're probably not going to eliminate all of them. We did have, I think it was one instance down in the Badlands where there was a population that was starting, and the USDA, I said, like I said, they know what they're doing. They brought in a team and eradicated the whole thing. The other tricky part when it comes to feral hogs too is, what is a feral hog? Is it truly a wild hog? Or we had an instance in the northern part of the state here not too long ago, and a picture of 12 hogs running down the road, and here half hour later when we had a guy on the ground there, the farmer's already rounding him up and putting him back in his pen. So you got to be really careful there as well, that we don't want to just start shooting things at, and and critters get out, whether it's cattle or horses or things like that, they get out. And, that's why it's illegal. Just if see a cow stand in the ditch, you just can't shoot a cow, So with feral hogs, it gets a little bit tricky, but we definitely do want to hear about them. They can be, a lot of people are aware of what's been happening in the southern states and to Canada for,
Hmm.
a little bit of that as well. But yeah, we just want to hear about it and make sure that we get in and take care of the problem, because they can do a heck of a lot of damage.
And I appreciate the fact that, like you said, you will check that out to verify if they are feral hogs or if they are domesticated pigs that just simply are outside of their home and need a place to go.
Yep, yep. And we've had
That
instances that have been both ways.
that's excellent. All right. Well, Greg, thank you. And probably a last reminder to folks is that gun deer tags are opening up very soon. I know I'm going to put my application in. Those are the end of May, first part of June, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, yep. And just a
Excellent.
reminder, we all need new hunting and fishing licenses as of April 1st. But for you gratis folks, if you happen to be sitting still, maybe not turning the wheel today, those gratis applications did open up on April 1st, and the deadline for gratis applications for landowners out there is June 5th. So certainly encouraging for nice look for summer. I'm seeing a few pictures in the southern tier of the state, people bouncing around in boats and pulling a few fish out already, and won't be long and that wheat and those soybeans and everything will be start kicking out of the ground, and summer will be here.
I think we'll have a lot more things to talk about as the summer goes on. So, Greg Gullickson with the North Dakota Game and Fish, thank you for spending some time with
Yeah,
us
thanks for
today.
your
Very
time.
much appreciate that. Thank you.
You
Yep.
bet.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, we'll be back. We'll be back, folks. We've got a few more headlines, but above all, a check on the weather. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Screaming goat is back. No, your equipment's not broken. It's just a goat in the background. Listeners, I got something for you here. We got to figure this out. The promo for Jay's tax relief isn't the sounder to call. We're still getting this confused with folks that the promo is not when we do the qualification. You need to be listening for this one. Addison, hit it. You see how he says to call right now? That's the one you need to call right now for to get yourself qualified for $1,000. We're going to take callers number. Bridgette, what number should we take? I was kind of thinking maybe 44, but that might take too long. Caller number 7. All right. Hi there,
7.
caller. I'm sorry, you're number 1. Hi, caller. You're number 2. Caller number 3. Ooh, you were close. It's caller number 4. Hi there, caller. What's your name?
Clyde.
What was it?
Clyde.
Clyde.
Welcome to the program, man. Hey, do you think you're caller number 7?
I sure hope so.
Yeah, you are caller number 7, so congratulations. You just got yourself qualified.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, don't hang up. Stay on the line. Our producer, Addison, will get some information from you so we can get you fully put in the books for your chance to win that $1,000. All right, man?
Will do. Thank you, sir.
Yep, no problem. Everyone else, thanks for listening. Thanks for trying. Jay will be entering another person in the 4 o'clock hour, but you want to listen to his show entirely because he's got some fun stuff coming up here next on the program.
Remember, that's $1,000. Jay's Tax Relief brought to you by ATI Fargo, but also Coast Materials. They want to offer you a lucrative opportunity. So don't rely on your tax refund. Go to coastmaterials.com. Check them out. And yes, there's still the opportunity. More days coming. We're doing this through April to try to get you signed up for the $1,000 in Jay's Tax Relief.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that $1,000 would come in handy to get you like almost 6 tanks of gas, maybe a quarter of a deck, and about 50 feet of fence. So, hey, that's going to go a long ways.
Take all of the items while you can.
Yes. We got a couple of ag topics we need to get to. I think one we should do is just give a little update on the Here We Grow project, on what we've done and what's coming up in the near future, Bridgette, because I know we were out there last week and we shot more video for our Here We Grow series for episodes 3 and 4. And although I don't quite think episode 1 has been released yet, why don't you give us an update and I'll check to see if that's live.
I think what's awesome about those videos right now is once you start to see them, you're going to want to continue to do so. You're going to want to like that and subscribe it and pay very close attention to what we're doing in the field every week. So we already have been out to look at our field. We've talked about seed selection and what that'll look like. Thank you to our friends at Dairyland Seed for being a part of it, as well as AB Seeds, which is our farmer cooperator. That would be Trygve Skolnes, Parker Skolnes, and Justin Magnuson. They've been great to work with. They were also actually getting a little bit of tillage done prior to this rainfall, but our corn's not in the ground yet. It will be soon. So if we can have folks keep watching and listening and send us your questions, Justin and I would be very happy to answer those. You can reach us ag or weather at flagfamily.com. We will answer those questions that you may have about our whole custom farming process, our 20 acres of corn that we are raising this year for 2024. And Justin's given me the high sign on the video that he's not answering those. He's just sending them to me. So I'll
forward them to you. You can answer them better than I can. I can barely respond to any other email. I get too many of these things. I'm so behind on catching up on emails.
Okay, look, dude, email, just type them out. It's okay. You can get this done. I swear. It'll be fine. Right?
Yeah, well, I got a couple hundred still, so I try and bust out a few, but Just not enough time in the day for all the requests. Anyways, I think we're about out of time here on the program. A quick rundown on the forecast. Low 50s today, a little breezy, more clouds than sun. Tonight, near freezing. Could see a few snow showers
Mhm.
around the area. And the same thing for Thursday, but that'll start to mix in with a few pockets of a light rain or some sprinkles into the afternoon. Fairly isolated, nothing widespread with temperatures next to 40 degrees. Tomorrow will be breezy, and it's going to stay chilly for a few days and breezy, but by the end of the weekend, we're back in the 50s with full sunny skies. Hey, Jay Thomas Show's coming up next. Stay tuned.